I was good for a while, but I would only make it 2 to 3 months without having pain. And then the pain would come back for about a week, and then it would go away, and then it would come back for about a week, and then it would go away.
We're joined by Cassie Sperling. She's at the Wellness Patriot on IG, and she's an integrative health practitioner.
You're going to have to learn to live with fibromyalgia for the rest of your life, were the discouraging words I heard my doctor say while we were losing our medical insurance. I wasn't just dealing with the implications of fibromyalgia. I was also facing chronic daily migraines, chronic fatigue syndrome, chronic cystic acne, and extreme gut issues. Additionally, my memory was failing, and I could no longer remember what was said to me 5 minutes prior. Furthermore, my health was getting worse, and I felt like my insides were dying, all while my entire body radiated in pain with no reprieve. My doctor never once thought to test for mold toxicity. Upon arriving home from that disappointing appointment, I allowed myself a moment to grieve. The warm tears danced their way down my cheeks, and my sleeves were saturated from soaking them up. Life, as I recently knew it, had the potential to be my forever, and I was not prepared to accept that as my fate and merely survive. What came next would be the beginning of a journey filled with hills and valleys that would lead me to claiming victory. I got into what I call fight mode. I prayed, God, if there is a way to fix this, I need you to show me. Not long after I prayed that prayer, I found a functional medicine doctor on the other side of the country who did telemedicine. At the time, pursuing that road seemed like a big risk. I would pay $5,000 to a man I had never seen face to face for a 6-month package that included supplements and testing. Not willing to accept my primary doctor's prognosis, I went for it. Functional medicine testing revealed I had significant candida yeast overgrowth in my gut, as well as an overgrowth of bacteria. High cortisol levels were recorded in the morning, and then my levels tanked the rest of the day. My thyroid was imbalanced, with my T4 not converting to T3. Still, my functional medicine doctor never tested for mold. Hope started to pour in as the functional medicine doctor laid out his plan. He put me on a protocol and asked me to start walking every day. Naturally, as my energy levels began to rise, my inner athlete began to wake up. Walking turned into jogging, and jogging into running. I went from living on the couch to running a 10K in 6 months. My family and I were amazed at the transformation, but my time with the doctor had come to an end. Fibromyalgia flares would return every 2 to 3 months, but this was a huge improvement from the daily constant pain I was experiencing. Unfortunately, years later, the pain had returned, and this time, it did not go away. After trying all of the things I had learned from the functional medicine doctor with no success, I knew there was something deeper at play. Not only was I in the worst fibromyalgia flare I had ever experienced, but I started to exhibit new symptoms, such as not being able to speak in a full sentence without my words jamming up. Moreover, my energy levels were now non-existent. My husband had to carry me up and down the stairs and place me in and out of the bathtub. Fear started to creep in that maybe I would have to learn to live with this for the rest of my life. But I quickly shook the thought and reminded myself that if I was able to get the pain to go away for 2 to 3 months at a time, I could at least get back to that cadence. My faith had me believing I could figure out why I had developed fibromyalgia and these other symptoms in the first place, so that I could finally do something to solve the underlying cause and say goodbye to them for good. New testing revealed I had Stachybotrys in my body, among other mycotoxins. We then had our home tested for mold to see if it was the source of my exposure, and the results were shocking. Mold was growing in almost every single room. Can you guess what they found in the ceiling of my master bathroom that opened up to my bedroom? If you thought Stachybotrys, you would be correct. Immediately, we began the mold remediation process. And that is when my body started to indicate that the high levels of mold in our home were indeed causing my chronic illness and symptoms. Through scouring the internet for resources, I came across Microbalance health products. Overwhelmed with having to toss out so many of our belongings, Microbalance provided a sense of relief, knowing we wouldn't have to get rid of everything. We purchased a fogger and the EC3 concentrate to pull any residual spores in the air down to the ground to be clean. The EC3 candles burned as we wiped down every nook and cranny of every single salvageable item we owned with the EC3 cleaner. My favorite product was, and still is, the EC3 laundry additive, which helped us to salvage clothes, linens, and very precious blankets that my grandmother had made. Mold has a way of breaking down the body and sensitizing it to the environment. Because of this mechanism, I was able to pinpoint exactly where the remediation company had missed the mold. Pointing to the location in the bathroom, I showed my husband where I believed there was still mold. He carefully cut out a piece of drywall and found a wooden wall joist that had mold growth on it. We quickly learned that not all mold remediation companies are created equally, and we use our experience to coach friends and family through their mold remediation journeys. A new practitioner started me on a mold detoxing protocol that consisted of herbs, binders, and homeopathics. My energy was increasing, the pain was becoming less, and I was able to speak more fluidly, which was a real confidence booster. It is important to note that every holistic-minded doctor and practitioner I have worked with has propelled me forward in my healing journey, and I am beyond grateful to have learned from their knowledge and expertise. Towards the end of my time with my practitioner, I was back to where I was with the functional medicine doctor. I was able to run and go 2 to 3 months without a fibromyalgia flare. What a gift. But was there still mold in my body despite a bioresonance scan showing I was clear? As I continued to get better, I knew I needed to speak about root cause illness with a voice of authority. I went back to school and became a certified integrative health practitioner from the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute. Because of this decision, I would unravel the mystery of why I was still flaring up every 2 to 3 months. Gut dysbiosis from mold toxicity was still a prevailing issue, plus a parasite infestation, and mycotoxins were still lingering. Taking my health into my own hands and following a multifaceted approach to health and wellness, I can now confidently say I no longer exhibit any symptoms of fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, chronic daily migraines, or chronic cystic acne. My memory is back to being sharp, and my speech is no longer jammed. I found freedom in getting my life back. With the ebbs and flows of life, a new uninvited mold exposure has recently interrupted my family's life as we are preparing to build the most mold-resistant home we could dream of. Thankfully, I have experience under my belt and quickly went into action. We ordered the EC3 laundry additive to save our clothing and rinse away mold spores. We ordered the EC3 cleaner concentrate to make numerous batches of cleaning solution to wipe down everything salvageable. And we also purchased the EC3 enzyme cleaner for those tough to clean spaces. After multiple mold exposures, we stay armed for the battle and keep Microbalance health products close by. Life has an interesting way of turning your pain into your passion and shifting your perspective so that you can see profound purpose through it all. My struggle has turned into other people's hope, and that hope drives me to speak out about mold so others will consider this environmental toxin as a reason why their health is in vast decline. This passion has led me to be strategically placed in various people's lives to help them navigate the overwhelming journey that is mold toxicity. If you are one of those people who just entered into your own mold journey, I hope you walk away from my story with the hope that your survival days will soon be behind you. May your struggle turn your pain into purpose.